The drop that went wrong. April 12, 1968. Western Laos, just east of the Annamite Range. The jungle below is still dark, soaked with night mist, when the helicopter flares and hovers low over the canopy. The 6 men crouched inside already know something is wrong. Captain John Stryker, Studies and Observations Group, tightens his grip on the rope as Rota Wash tears at the leaves beneath them. He is not supposed to be here today. The team was briefed for a shallow penetration, a fast recon sweep along a known truck route, in and out before noon. Instead, the pilot's voice crackled over the headset seconds earlier, clipped and urgent, warning of unexpected enemy movement in the landing zone. Too late now. One by one, the men slide down into the green darkness. The rope burns through gloves. Boots hit mud. The helicopter lifts away immediately, its engine fading east, leaving behind 6 figures swallowed by jungle sound. Cicadas scream. Somewhere distant, a single shot cracks, then another. Captain Stryker raises a clenched fist. The team freezes. To his left, Sergeant First Class Mike DeLuca, the team's senior NCO, slowly kneels and scans through his binoculars. Behind them, the indigenous team members, 2 mountaineer tribesmen known as Van and Min, melt into the foliage, faces blank, weapons ready. The last 2 Americans, Specialist Ray Collins and Corporal Eddie Moreno, fan out instinctively, checking arcs of fire. The air smells wrong. Wood smoke. Oil. Too many broken branches. Stryker's radio, a PRC-25 wrapped in tape and sweat-stained cloth, hisses quietly at his chest. He does not touch it yet. DeLuca lowers the binoculars. His voice is barely a breath. They are here. Lots of them. Not scouts. Not a patrol. Movement flickers through the trees in disciplined lines, dark uniforms blending with shadow. Steel glints. Rifles carried low and confident. This is not a coincidence. This is an organized force moving with purpose. Not Vietnamese army. Stryker feels the realization settle like weight on his lungs. This is not a platoon. The spacing is wrong. The depth is wrong. He counts silhouettes, loses them, counts again. A battalion. Hundreds of men. And the 6 of them are standing in the middle of its path. He signals the team to move. No talking. No hesitation. They slip downhill, away from the original landing zone, boots sinking into leaf rot, trying to become just another part of the forest. Training takes over. Every step is measured. Every pause deliberate. For 10 minutes, it almost works. Then a shout erupts behind them. Sharp. Commanding. Vietnamese. Gunfire explodes. Rounds rip through bamboo. Chips of wood sting exposed skin. Collins stumbles as a bullet snaps past his ear. Moreno drags him forward without a word. DeLuca turns and fires 2 controlled bursts from his CAR-15, short and precise, just enough to break contact. The jungle erupts into noise. Whistles. Shouts. Automatic fire rolling in waves. They are made. Stryker hits the dirt and keys the radio. Covey, this is Recon 6. We are compromised. Repeat, compromised. Enemy strength estimated battalion size. Grid follows. He rattles off coordinates, voice steady, heart pounding. The response comes fast. Recon 6, Covey copies. Air is 10 mics out. Hold if able. Hold. Stryker almost laughs. There is no holding against this. The team breaks into a dead run, downhill toward a shallow ravine marked on their map as a possible rally point. The NVA pursue with discipline, not rushing, spreading wide to cut off escape routes. Mortar rounds begin to fall, thumping into the earth ahead of them, walking closer with terrifying accuracy. Van goes down first, a fragment tearing through his calf. Min hauls him upright, both of them refusing to slow. DeLuca covers the rear, firing and moving, teeth clenched, ice cold. Stryker reaches the ravine and skids down its muddy slope. The others pile in behind him. The walls are steep but narrow, choked with vines. For the first time since the drop, they have partial cover. It will not last. Above them, the jungle is alive with movement. Shadows gather along the ridgeline. Rifles appear through leaves. Someone begins shouting orders again, closer now. Stryker checks his watch. 8 minutes since contact. He looks at his men. Mud-streaked faces. Wide eyes. No panic yet. He raises the radio again, knowing this is only the beginning. Surrounded in the ravine. The first grenades land seconds later. They bounce once, twice, clinking softly against stone before detonating. The blast slams the ravine walls inward, showering the team with dirt and shattered vines. Colin screams as shrapnel tears through his rucksack. Moreno drags him flat and presses his helmet down with one hand, rifle in the other, firing blind toward the ridge. Captain Stryker forces himself to breathe. He keys the radio again. Covey, we are pinned in a ravine. Taking grenades and automatic fire. We need immediate air. Static. Then the calm voice of the forward air controller cuts through. Recon 6, Covey has visual smoke. Fast movers are 5 mics out. Can you pop smoke? Stryker nods to DeLuca. DeLuca pulls a red smoke grenade from his vest, waits for a lull, then throws. It arcs upward, barely clearing the ravine lip before bursting into a thick cloud that stains the jungle canopy. The response is immediate. Machine gun fire rakes the smoke, shredding leaves, stitching the ravine wall inches above their heads. The NVA are close now. Too close. Van groans softly. Blood darkens the mud beneath him. Min kneels beside him, whispering in his own language, hands steady as he tightens a bandage. Even wounded, Van grips his rifle, jaw clenched, eyes tracking movement above. DeLuca crawls to Stryker's side. They are flanking left and right. They know exactly where we are. Stryker already knows. The fire is too coordinated, too disciplined. This battalion has fought Americans before. They are patient. They are not in a hurry. A mortar round detonates at the ravine entrance, collapsing part of the slope and sealing their original escape route. The concussion sucks the air from Stryker's lungs. He tastes blood. He forces the radio back up. Covey, be advised, enemy closing within grenade range. Danger close air authorized. There is a pause. Then. Roger, Recon 6. Stand by. Above the canopy, the sound begins as a distant growl. It grows fast, ripping through the humid air. Jet engines. Stryker presses his face into the mud as the first F-4 Phantom screams overhead. The bombs hit uphill from the ravine, explosions rolling like thunder through the jungle. Trees snap. Fire blooms. Shock waves slam into the ravine walls. For a moment, the NVA fire slackens, replaced by shouts and confusion. DeLuca is already moving. Now. Move now. The team scrambles forward through the ravine, climbing over roots, slipping in mud, dragging Van between them. Collins limps, teeth gritted, refusing help. Moreno stays at his shoulder, firing short bursts whenever a helmet appears above the ridge. They break out of the ravine into thicker jungle, visibility dropping to a few meters. The ground slopes upward again. Every step burns. Then the shooting resumes, closer than before. The NVA anticipated this. They have men everywhere. Automatic fire erupts from the front. Stryker dives behind a fallen log as rounds chew into the wood. DeLuca drops to one knee and returns fire, controlled, methodical, every burst aimed. Min signals urgently. Enemy movement to the rear. They are surrounded. Stryker checks his map, already knowing it will not save them. The terrain is a maze of ridges and draws. Extraction points are kilometers away. There is no safe landing zone. He raises the radio again, voice tight now. Covey, we are encircled. I say again, encircled. Request gunships, immediate. Copy, Recon 6. Spooky is inbound. 2 mics. 2 minutes can be a lifetime. The NVA begin pressing in, probing, testing. Grenades roll through the undergrowth. One detonates near Moreno, lifting him off his feet. He lands hard, stunned, ears ringing. Collins crawls to him, slaps his helmet, shouting, but the words are lost in the noise. DeLuca drags Moreno back behind cover, checks him quickly. Still with us. Get up. Moreno nods, shaking his head, forcing focus back into his eyes. Stryker fires his own rifle now, no longer just directing. Each shot is deliberate. Each target fleeting. He is acutely aware of his ammunition, counting rounds without thinking, muscle memory honed by endless training. Then, like a scream from the sky, the gunship arrives. The AC-47 spooky circles overhead, unseen through the canopy but unmistakable by sound. Its miniguns spin up with a rising whine. Red tracers pour down in sheets, siding through the jungle perimeter. The effect is immediate and brutal. NVA positions erupt in sparks and shattered wood. Fire slackens again, replaced by chaos. The team uses the moment to move, staggering uphill toward a narrow ridgeline that offers marginal cover. They collapse behind rocks and roots, chest heaving, sweat and mud streaking their faces. Stryker looks at his watch again. 23 minutes since contact. He knows this fight is nowhere near over. Holding the ridgeline. The ridgeline is barely a ridgeline at all. A narrow spine of earth and stone, no wider than a road, sloping away on both sides into dense jungle. It offers height, but no safety. From here, the team can see nothing beyond 20 meters in any direction. Captain Stryker signals for a quick perimeter. DeLuca takes the left flank. Collins and Moreno cover the rear. Min drags Vang into a shallow depression scraped out with bare hands and broken branches. The wounded man's breathing is shallow now, eyes glassy but alert. The gunship's fire fades as it banks away to reload. The jungle noise creeps back in, broken only by distant shouts and the crack of branches. Stryker knows what comes next. The NVA will probe. Then they will press. He keys the radio. Covey, Spooky did good work, but we're still hot. Ammo running low. Any chance of extraction? The reply is immediate, and not what he wants to hear. Negative, Recon 6. No LZ within reach. Fast movers cycling back. Gunships available as able. In other words, they are on their own. The first probe hits from the left. 3 figures rush through the brush, rifles up. DeLuca cuts them down with a single burst, dropping back behind cover before return fire snaps overhead. He reloads without looking, hands moving automatically. More movement follows. Not a rush. A crawl. Shadows sliding through the undergrowth, patient, deliberate. Mortar rounds begin falling again, closer now, adjusted with frightening precision. One explodes just off the ridge, showering Collins with dirt and stone. He coughs, spits mud, keeps firing. Moreno leans over to Stryker. How many are there? Stryker does not answer. The number no longer matters. The NVA attack in waves. Not mass charges, but small elements, advancing, pulling back, forcing the team to reveal positions. Every time an American fires, 2 more rifles answer. Van tries to sit up, pushing Min's hands away. He points weakly toward a patch of brush where movement flickers. Min nods, relays the warning. Stryker throws a grenade. It detonates with a flat crack, followed by screams. The gunship returns, briefly. Tracers rake the slope below the ridge. Stryker shouts coordinates into the radio, voice hoarse. Danger close. Closer. The rounds impact so near that bark strips from trees above their heads. It is terrifying. It is also the only thing keeping them alive. Time stretches. Minutes blur into each other. The team fights, moves, reloads, fights again. Sweat stings eyes. Fingers cramp around triggers. The smell of cordite and burned vegetation hangs heavy. Then Vang stops moving. Min notices first. He grips the man's shoulder, shakes him gently. No response. The Montagnard bows his head once, briefly, then takes Vang's ammunition and rifle, his face hardening. There is no time to grieve. DeLuca crawls to Stryker, blood streaking his sleeve from a graze he has not mentioned. We can't hold this. They are feeling us out for a final push. Stryker knows it too. The fire is intensifying. The gaps between attacks are shrinking. The NVA are coordinating something larger. He keys the radio again. Covey, we are critical. I repeat, critical. If we don't get a break soon, we're done. A pause. Longer this time. Then the answer comes. Recon 6, stand by for Prairie Fire emergency extraction. King Bee birds launching. ETA 10 mics. 10 minutes. It might as well be 10 hours. The NVA attack hard now. Automatic fire from 3 directions. Grenades rain in, forcing the team to shift positions constantly. Collins goes down, hitting the thigh. Moreno drags him back, tying a tourniquet with shaking hands. Stryker fires until his magazine runs dry, slams another home, fires again. His ward narrows to front sight, trigger press, recoil. The ridge shakes as mortars impact on both sides. Trees fall. Smoke thickens. Visibility drops to almost nothing. Through it all, the team holds, not because they think they will win, but because there is no other option. Stryker glances at his watch again. 6 minutes to extraction. If the NVA do not overrun them first, they break for extraction. The sound of rotors cuts through the chaos like a promise and a warning at the same time. Distant at first, then unmistakable. Helicopters. Not one, but several. The distinctive chop of South Vietnamese King Bee aircraft fighting the thin mountain air. The NVA hear them too. The fire intensifies instantly. The probing stops. This is the final push. Captain Stryker forces himself upright, scanning through the smoke and shattered foliage. The extraction zone is a sloping saddle just off the ridgeline, barely large enough for a rope insertion. It is exposed on 3 sides and already under fire. Pop smoke on my mark, he shouts, voice raw. DeLuca nods, face set, eyes burning with exhaustion and focus. The first helicopter appears overhead, a dark shape slicing through the haze. Machine gun fire lashes toward it from the jungle. The bird banks hard, flares, and disappears behind the ridge. Now, Stryker yells. Purple smoke blooms, thick and heavy, marking their position. It draws fire like a magnet. Rounds tear through it from every direction. Leaves explode. Dirt sprays. The gunship returns in a screaming dive, miniguns blazing. Tracers rig the slope below the saddle, carving a brief corridor of safety. Move, DeLuca roars. The team breaks from cover and sprints. Moreno half carries Collins, the wounded man gritting his teeth, rifle still clutched in his hands. Min runs just ahead, firing back over his shoulder, moving like he was born in this jungle. Stryker brings up the rear with DeLuca, both men firing, stopping, firing again. The ground erupts around them. Mortars impact so close the shockwaves stagger them. Stryker stumbles, catches himself, keeps moving. The rope drops from the hovering King Bee, swaying wildly. One at a time, Stryker shouts, though the words are nearly lost in rotor wash and gunfire. Min reaches the rope first. He grabs on and disappears upward, vanishing into the helicopter in seconds. Collins goes next, screaming in pain as the rope jerks him upward. Moreno slaps his helmet and follows. DeLuca covers the perimeter alone now, firing controlled burst until his rifle clicks empty. He transitions smoothly to his sidearm, never looking back. Another helicopter takes hits, smoke trailing from its engine, but it holds position. Stryker grabs the rope, starts climbing, then stops. He looks back. DeLuca is still on the ground, reloading under fire. Go, DeLuca yells. I'm right behind you. Stryker hesitates for half a second, then obeys. He climbs, muscles screaming, bullets snapping past, until hands reach down and haul him into the aircraft. Below, DeLuca throws his last grenade and runs for the rope. He grabs on just as NVA troops burst from the tree line, firing wildly. Tracers chase him upward. The helicopter lurches, taking more hits. The door gunner opens up, firing until the barrels glow. DeLuca disappears into the cabin and collapses on the floor as the bird banks hard and pulls away. Below them, the ridgeline is lost in smoke, fire, and movement. The second helicopter lifts off moments later, trailing smoke, engines screaming. Gunships continue to pound the jungle, covering the withdrawal. Inside the King Bee, the survivors lie where they fell. Mud. Blood. Torn gear. No one speaks. The only sound is breathing, harsh and uneven. Stryker looks around the cabin. 5 men where there were 6. Min sits with his head bowed, hands resting on Vang's recovered rifle. Collins is pale but alive, tourniquet holding. Moreno stares at nothing, lips moving silently. DeLuca meets Stryker's eyes and nods once. They are out. But the cost is etched into every face. After the fire fades, the helicopters race east, hugging the valleys, engines strained, crew silent except for clipped calls over the intercom. Smoke still leaks from one aircraft's engine cowling, the smell of burned oil mixing with blood and cordite inside the cabin. Captain Stryker forces himself to sit upright. His hands shake now that the shooting has stopped. He presses them against his knees until they steady. Training kept him alive in the jungle. Discipline keeps him functioning now. He crawls toward Collins. The young specialist's face is gray, sweat beading on his forehead. The tourniquet is soaked but holding. Stryker squeezes his shoulder. "You're going to make it," he says, not knowing if it is true but needing it to be. Collins nods weakly, eyes unfocused. Across the cabin, Moreno vomits quietly into his helmet, then wipes his mouth and stares at the floor. His hands tremble uncontrollably. Min sits rigid, unmoving, eyes fixed on nothing, Vang's rifle cradled across his lap like a promise kept too late. DeLuca leans against the bulkhead, eyes closed, jaw clenched. Blood seeps through his sleeve where shrapnel bit deep. He ignores it. No one speaks of the ridgeline. No one needs to. When they reach the forward operating base, the helicopters barely settle before medics swarm in. Collins is carried out first. Moreno follows, limping but upright. Min hesitates at the door, then steps out without looking back. Stryker is last. As his boots hit the ground, the delayed weight of it all crashes down. The noise. The numbers. The fact that 6 men walked into a battalion and 5 walked out. Inside the debrief hut, the air is stale and dim. A single bulb swings overhead. Maps are spread across a rough wooden table, already marked with grease pencil and blood smears. An intelligence officer waits, notebook open. "How many NVA?" he asks. Stryker looks at the map, then away. "Enough." He recounts the contact minute by minute. The drop. The ravine. The ridge. The extraction. He lists air assets used, ammunition expended, casualties taken. His voice is flat, controlled, almost detached. When he reaches Vang's death, he pauses. "Indigenous team member Kia," he says finally. The officer writes it down, just another line. Outside, the jungle hums, indifferent. Later, alone, Stryker sits on a crate behind the hooch and stares into the darkness. His ears still ring. Every crack of a branch makes his shoulders tense. He knows sleep will not come easily tonight, or for many nights after. DeLuca joins him, lighting a cigarette with unsteady hands. "Battalion," DeLuca says quietly. "They were waiting for someone." Stryker nods. The mission was compromised before it began. Bad intelligence. Bad luck. Or both. "They didn't break us," DeLuca continues. "But they tried." Stryker thinks of the tracers pouring through the trees. Of the mortars walking closer. Of the rope swinging under fire. "They almost did," he replies. In the days that follow, the operation becomes a report number and a casualty figure. Commendations are submitted. Questions are asked, then quietly dropped. the war moves on. But for the men who were there, time remains frozen on that ridgeline, surrounded by an enemy they could not see, fighting for minutes that stretched into eternity. And somewhere in the western jungles of Laos, the scars of that battle fade back into green. What survived the jungle? Weeks later, the jungle has already erased most signs of the fight. Monsoon rain washes away blood. New growth pushes through bomb craters. Broken trees rot and fall, indistinguishable from thousands of others shattered by war. Somewhere along that ridgeline, rusting fragments of shrapnel and spent casings sink deeper into the soil, becoming part of the land. But the men do not forget. Captain John Stryker returns to operations with a thinner face and quieter voice. He studies maps longer now. Questions intelligence briefings harder. Every insertion point feels closer to an ambush than it did before. He knows how thin the line truly is between planning and catastrophe. Sergeant First Class Mike DeLuca earns a citation for his actions on the ridge. The paperwork praises leadership, courage under fire, decisive action. It does not mention the sound of bullets snapping past his head or the moment he thought he would die alone covering the rope. Those things stay with him instead. Specialist Ray Collins survives surgery and evacuation. The bullet misses his femoral artery by less than an inch. Doctors call him lucky. He does not feel lucky when he wakes at night, sweating, hearing rotors that are not there. Corporal Eddie Moreno keeps his sense of humor, but it is sharper now, edged with something brittle. He never again complains about the weight of his pack. He knows what it means to run with a wounded man while an army closes in. Min returns to the mountains after the tour ends. He carries Vang's memory with him, a death written in blood and jungle shadow. No report ever fully captures what the indigenous teams gave or what they lost. Officially, the mission is logged as a successful emergency extraction under heavy enemy contact. Enemy casualties estimated. Friendly losses listed. Lessons learned summarized in neat paragraphs. Unofficially, it becomes another quiet SOG story, passed between men who understand what it means to be outnumbered and unseen. A reminder that training and air support matter, but so does luck. And sometimes luck is the only thing standing between survival and annihilation. The battalion they encountered remains unnamed in the records. Its commander likely fired his own report, noting an unexpected enemy patrol that fought with ferocity and vanished into the sky. Two sides of the same moment, separated by language and memory. For the viewer, the story ends here. But for the men who lived it, it never really does. Every thump of a helicopter. Every stretch of jungle seen from above. Every quiet moment where the world feels just a little too still. 6 men went into the jungle that day. 5 came out. And that is how a 6-man SOG team faced an entire NVA battalion, not as heroes in a clean victory, but as survivors who carried the weight of that fight for the rest of their lives.